Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's happening in Spain. We'll go into the press and check out what is happening there, and then at the end of the video we'll go into the comment section and take a look at what is happening there also. The main stories that are dominating headlines today: the heat wave, of course, that is underway in the south of Europe, record temperatures being recorded in some places, and high energy prices in Spain and other European countries also making headlines. Now, the first thing we'll look at today is the heat wave. We can see this headline here: La ola de calor que abraza el sur de Europa, the heat wave that is scorching the south of Europe, golpeará todo el fin de semana a España. It will hit Spain all weekend. And we can see firefighters in the picture in Sicily, Italy, trying to put out a blaze. So a severe heat wave hitting the south of Europe at the moment, going to affect Spain over the weekend also. We saw yesterday what a map of the country looked like during the heat wave. Very hot temperatures in some parts of the country, especially down there in Andalusia. So it's going to be an uncomfortable weekend for people that don't like hot weather. And I imagine that it also means that a lot of people that live in interior parts of the country are going to head to the beach. Now, the hot weather in Spain means that a lot of people are going to be turning on their air conditioning units over the weekend to try to stay cool. But as we know, the country is still experiencing record energy prices. The government is under enormous pressure to try to do something about it. And yesterday, some members of the government were even talking about setting up a state-run energy company. And we can see here that Minister Rivera now opens the door to a public energy company that will manage hydroelectric plants. So some interesting news there. The government opening the door to the possibility of creating a state-owned energy company. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but didn't Spain have a state energy company that was privatized back in the 1990s? So let's put this into some type of perspective. Spain has a public energy company, they privatize it, electricity prices get out of control, and now in 2021 they talk about creating a new one. The idea to start a new publicly owned energy company is coming from the Podemos side of the government, and yesterday one of the Podemos ministers tweeted that it's about time that the socialists are finally listening to their ideas. So we'll see if a publicly owned energy company is the answer to Spain's energy woes. Now, another story that has caught my attention today is about Spain's own COVID vaccine. It has been given the green light to start clinical trials, and Spain's Science Minister, Diana Morant, has come out and said that the Spanish vaccine will be an improvement on the existing COVID vaccines. It has been designed for the new COVID variants, she says. And she also says that the Spanish vaccine, known as HIPRA, is a very important step for Spanish science. So there we go, the Science Minister confident that Spain's vaccine will be an improvement on existing vaccines. And the article also goes on to say that the vaccine will be ready for commercialization sometime early in 2022. So it's taken a while, but if we believe the Minister, it's going to be worth the wait. Now, another story that caught my attention yesterday was that a shark was spotted just off the beach at Benidorm. As we can see here, a stranded shark forces Benidorm's Poniente beach to be closed for a few hours. So a bit of drama yesterday in Benidorm, a 2.5 metre blue shark I think it was, forcing beaches to close for a couple of hours until they managed to push it further out to sea. And let's be honest, Benidorm is famous for sharks, but they're not normally found in the water. And the final thing we'll look at today is about young people in Spain and the fact that they can't often become independent and leave their parents' home until they're 30. As we can see here, young Spaniards become independent from their parents' home at almost 30 years of age. The Spanish average places the country in 7th place in the European Union that takes the longest to become independent. And the European average stands at 26.4 years of age. According to these statistics, Croatia is the country with the oldest age to become independent, 32.4 years on average. Slovakia, Malta, Italy and Portugal also register averages over 30. At the other end of the list are mostly the Nordic countries such as Sweden, where the young population decides to leave the family home at 17.5 years of age, followed by Luxembourg, which has an average of 19.8 years, or Denmark with 21.2. So a huge difference between the north of Europe and the south of Europe when it comes to moving out of the family home. And another interesting stat that came out of that survey is that if young people do decide to leave home early, they have to spend about 90% of their salary on living costs. So better to stay at home, live with your parents, and try to save a bit of money. Now we'll leave the news there and go into the comment section and check out what's happening there today. One here from Rufus: Hi Stuart, finally made it to our place in Rio Gordo Shakir after 18 months of confinement in England and fuming over Brexit. We've missed it so much despite the searing heat. I've gone all autonomo with the aim that eventually I'll be able to work and live in Spain. Keep up the good work. Yeah, Rufus, thanks for the comment, and good to see that you have finally been able to make it to your house there in Malaga. And what a lovely part of the country that is. I used to go quite a bit to a place called Rincón de la Victoria, which is not far from the place that you mentioned there, Rio Gordo. In fact, I'm planning a visit to that part of the country later in the year. And you're right, it has been a difficult 18 months. Not easy to travel, not easy to get out and about because of all of the restrictions that have been in place. And good luck with your Autonomo adventure in Spain. I hope things work out. One here from Chris. I go every year from the Canaries to Béjar in Andalusia for the first 2 weeks of May to visit friends, and the weather has always been perfect. It is, in my opinion, one of the nicest times to visit Spain as the weather is good and the countryside is green and there are no tourists. Yeah, Chris, thanks for the comment. Obviously in reply to a comment that we saw yesterday from somebody asking when the best time to visit Spain is. I said around October, November, because the weather is normally not too hot, not too cold at that time of the year, which makes it easier to travel around the country and do lots of sightseeing. But the month you mentioned there, May, is also a good time to visit the country. April is also a good month in my opinion. The weather is also good at that time of the year, and as you said, the countryside is still green and there aren't a lot of tourists around, which is very, very important in my opinion. One here from Ed. Alan Jones was a great racing driver in his day. Yeah, thanks for the comment, and you're right, Alan Jones was a great racing driver back in his day. In fact, I think he won a Formula 1 championship, but Alan Jones, the racing driver, is not the same Alan Jones that I have mentioned a few times on the channel in recent times. The Alan Jones that I'm referring to was a shock jock on Sydney radio for many, many years. He even coached the Australian rugby team, the Wallabies, for a period there, and now he presents a show on the Sky News Australia channel, which is basically the Australian version of Fox News. One here from Pamela. You are a very dangerous reporter. Yeah, Pamela, thanks for the comment and thanks for your opinion. I went through the comment section looking for some of your previous comments, and from what I saw, I think you should change the pronoun in your comment to the first person. One here from Anna. At the moment, I'm in Alentejo, which has its borders with Extremadura and is considered the hottest region in Portugal, 40 to 43 degrees Celsius. Many people have the habit of siesta if they can. Farmers, for example, start work at 5 or 6 a.m. so that they can have their much-deserved siesta. The evenings are lovely with a cool breeze and starry skies. Yana, thanks for the comment. I have seen that that part of Portugal can get quite hot on the border there with Extremadura. Whenever I cross the border into Portugal on my way here, I do notice the very high temperatures, and you can't blame people for having a nap after lunch and trying to escape the heat. But luckily where I am here on the coast, no sign of hot weather. In fact, today the temperature is not going to get above 22. And finally, one here from Irene. I go to Spain to go back to what our home was for 10 years, to see old friends, speak Spanish and a bit of Catalan, enjoy the sunshine, sea, food, art galleries and culture. But we found it hard to cope with the hot and humid July-August weather, even when we were living there and acclimatized. Yeah, Irene, thanks for the comment, and the hot, humid weather is difficult for a lot of people to get used to, especially in the months that you mentioned there, July and August. Humidity in particular is one thing that I detest, but luckily in Madrid, the heat is very, very dry. And when it comes to the other things that you mentioned there, the sunshine, the sea, the food, the culture, and the art, those are also things that I love about Spain. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.